Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you are watching the daily trading review and market review. So as always, you are going to check the situation on the markets. We are going to check the news background of what kind of impacts we got from different type of situations around the world and how they are changing, and what kind of predictions about different sectors of the market we have, and mainly we are going to talk about the main news background, the triggers, and of course we're going to check all of the main assets, for example, from the stock market, and we're continuing with the Forex market pairs, and of course we're going to check the cryptocurrency, different famous, most popular cryptocurrencies, and check the prices of those cryptocurrencies which we have on our platform. So don't forget to watch the video till the end. As you already know, due to the news and due to the news background of previous months, that Federal Reserve System is going to tighten the monetary policy, and on each meeting of Federal Reserve System, they actually show more that they are going to tighten the monetary policy, and they're going to shrink the balance sheet, and of course they're going to rise the interest rates maybe 3 or 4 times. Of course, some resources telling us that they are going to rise the interest rates about 5 or 6 times, but that's not really realistic. They could rise it, for example, for 3 or 4 times, not by 0.25, 0.5% each time, but by 0.75 or even 1% interest rates hiking each time. So, as you know, the Federal Reserve System, the Federal Open Market Council as well believe that inflation is getting higher than we expected, and they're going to on each meeting they actually tell about the need of interest rate hiking. So that's a really great factor for dollars prices, which could help dollar to rise further. But for now, for today, due to the intraday chart of dollar prices, we have some picture of probability of dollar's downward speculative movement, which could happen during today's European session. And you just need to know that here, due to the long-term scale, or maybe mid-term scale, let's be more accurate, we have a really important support of 95.50, 95.60. And the retest of this support would actually make dollar prices to return to the upward phase. But for now, for today's European session, or maybe next sessions even of today's market, they could get some downward impulsive movements of dollar index, which could help euro, pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, yen, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and even the price of oil and the stock market indexes, for example, S&P 500 and Dow Jones, to rise a little bit. And this would be a speculative movement. So don't forget that this kind of predictions now for today for intratraders is the most likely one due to the technical picture of the charts. And as you know, the main risk factor, fear factor on the markets remain, and it could remain till the end of February. It's escalation of the situation between Russia and Ukraine, on the border of Russia and Ukraine. And as you know, some days ago, Russia just withdraw the army from the borders, but they're just kind of changing the locations, and they're not going anywhere. So that's what the Western news resources want us to know, because there's a chance for United States to make Europe, to make European Union forget about the Russian gas and forget about the Russian oil, and mostly make more contracts with American oil producers, suppliers, and gas suppliers. And that's a target of the United States, which is going to actually fulfill till the end of February. So the risk factor, the fear factor of war in Eastern Europe will remain on the markets. But don't forget that that's a game, that's a trigger for markets. And mainly about these fears, we mostly are hearing from United States, and we're hearing from the Western countries. And of course, they are more interested in the European Union transaction to the European Union transferring from Russian oil and gas to American or Arabic oil and American gas. So that's all what's happening now, and that's all the predictions which we have about the markets for now, for today. Let's see what is going on with the calendar today. We have some releases which could affect markets, building permits which are going to be negative, and Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index, which is going to be negative as well. The only positive thing which is going to release as well in the same time with all of this releases at 13:30 by or 1:30 p.m. by Greenwich time is the initial jobless claims of the United States, which is going to fall from 223,000 to 219,000, which is a good news, and that could actually help dollar to make some upward movement. But mainly due to the economic calendar event, we are going to fall. So dollar is going to fall, and this is a speculative corrective movement for today's sessions, which we are going to have. United States dollar, we already checked it, and let's go through the stock market of United States. What is going on with the stock market of United States? The situation is actually the most for now, for today's situation with stock market is kind of being consolidative. Mostly it's so consolidated, the movement is consolidative, and this strengthening of prices which we saw was related to the news as well. And as you know, the stock market is under the pressure of the risk factor of the war in Eastern Europe, and of course the Federal Reserve System decision. And it's going to be under the pressure, but don't forget that renewing of maximums in the first half of the year as well is possible. But for now, for today, we have to just wait for next 3 days, 4 days, maybe next week. Just wait for S&P and Dow Jones to renew the lows mainly, and then reverse upward again, maybe. So for now, for today, for day traders, what kind of predictions we can actually stick with is the situation which we have on the 15-minute chart of S&P 500 and Dow Jones. We are looking through the situation which is telling us that we have accumulation of energy, and we have a prediction, we have a probability of the retest of 35,000 level of Dow Jones, and maybe speculative upward movement of the prices to 35,000, 3550 maybe. And for S&P 500 we have a probability of prices to maybe impulsively retest 4,500, 4,040, 480. And mostly this is a risk range which are telling you about. This is a range which could get retested by one impulse, and after this impulse, mainly we are going to continue the downward movement between these corridors which we have on the S&P and of course on the Dow Jones as well. So due to this prediction of upward impulsive movement of indexes against the dollar's downward impulse, maybe Euro, Pound, Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as well make some upward impulses and just retest the local maximum. So European currency maybe is going to retest 1.14, but after this retest we have to just know that prices are going to reverse again. So we're waiting for some retest of 1.14, 1.1430, or maybe 50 even. But after the retest of this range, prices, if this retest is going to be impulsively, prices are going to they're going to fall. But if the amplitude is going to be like this, and it's going to be short, and it's going to show us that prices are actually strengthening level by level, and they're strengthening like moderately, and they're pushing to local resistance, this would be a signal of the continuation of upward movement and even a more powerful upward impulse. So don't forget that in a short time, if we get any upward impulses, that's a reversal signal. But if we are going to observe any kind of moderate level by level strengthening of the prices of Euro, Pound, S&P 500, Dow Jones, it would mean that prices are going to make the upward impulse a little bit later, and it's going to be more higher. So for pound, we actually have already retested 1.36, but just to know we have a potential of next upward movement. So here we just need to pay attention on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart. If we are getting to stock under 1.36, that's a really bad news for bulls, and any upward impulses during nearest hours and nearest sessions, and any closure under the local maximum of 1.3650 would be a reversal signal as well. So here we have a prediction of upward impulse, but you have to know that any kind of upward impulse, upward speculations would mean that prices are going to reverse. Here is a really beautiful signal of a reverse already have been actually drawn by the prices. On the 15-minute chart, you can actually see that's a really impulsive retest of local resistance and the false breakthrough, and the next formation of a fractal. Here we have a fractal, which is a candlestick formation, which shows us that prices are going to reverse. And all of these factors here really beautifully showing us that prices are going to reverse, especially if we have some short-term, really mild divergence, which is an extra signal of a reversal, which could happen now due to the price action, which could happen now, and that's a really speculative movement of prices, which could end really shortly. So if you're even going to trade this kind of signals, you have to pay attention on 5-minute chart. You have to try to trade it on 1-minute chart or 5-minute chart. So here, this is the situation which we have on the pound. Pound is showing us the situation mostly. It's showing us better the situation. It's showing us more. That's actually a more conservative picture, if we say. Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, they've already retested local resistance and they're kind of returning, but you just need to pay attention. If we are going to have any accumulation of energy here under 0.72 for Australian dollar or under 0.67 for New Zealand dollar, any accumulation of energy, any kind of shortage of amplitude here, it won't mean that prices are going to go further upward. It would mean that even if we are going to have any upward impulses, next thing that we are going to have is a reverse, because we are really on the top of the market. So don't forget these factors. Let's see what we are going to have on the commodity market. Gold prices and silver prices, both of them are rising on the risk factors which we have, and the situation between China and United States is not really optimistic as well. As you know, the most important thing that we have to actually pay attention, except the situation which we have on the Eastern Europe, about the conflict and about the escalation of the war situation. We have the escalation of the trade deal, China's United States trade deal, about which United States is really disappointed, because due to the numbers, China haven't yet fulfilled the targets of those targets of trading deal which it had to fulfill and which it had to realize, and we're now talking about the first phase of trade deal, which was really historical, which was really like from the previous year. And United States just yesterday, 2 days ago, just expressed his opinion that he's really disappointed by China because China didn't fulfill the even first phase of trading deal. So that's not a really good situation, and this could continue to escalate more. So don't have to forget about this factor as well. And of course, all gold prices and any commodity prices, risk asset prices could really rise on this kind of things, on this kind of news. Mainly gold prices could start the downward trend only after any kind of Federal Reserve System or, for example, Federal Open Markets Council, if they are going to finally, for example, hike the interest rates. If they are going to do it finally, which could happen at March, in this March, within a month. After this kind of movements, price of gold could really start to fall. But we have the potential of the upward movement continuance for today, for tomorrow. So breakthrough of local resistance, which we had, and the opening of the today's candle, which is upper than yesterday's candle. But due to the 4-hour chart, we have a really impulsive upward movement. I don't really believe in this kind of upward movements, and due to the RSI oscillator indicator, we have some chances of the reversal, of a divergence. So how long this movement would continue, I don't really believe that's so long for today. And for today's sessions, I think that we have to just wait for some consolidational movements or even some correctional downward movements like this. But pay attention, due to the 4-hour chart, if we are going to have any type of downward impulses or downward correctional movements which are going to happen with one impulse, with one long impulse, that would mean that prices are going to rise further. But if nearest downward movement is going to be not that impulsive, and consolidational movement starts in the near future, near to local maximums of gold, this would mean that prices are going to reverse. So pay attention, if nearest downward movement of gold, of silver, if they are going to be really impulsive, the nearest downward movements of gold and silver, if they are going to be really impulsive, like this, for example, like this time, which we have, this would really mean that prices further are going to rise. But if they are going to accumulate, if they are going to consolidate, if they are going to just stop rising and start to make some little movements with a really low amplitude and with a really low volatility during today's European and American session, if something like that happened near to local maximums, this would really mean that prices of gold are going to fall down. So here we have a little bit time for some maybe widening formation or expanding formation to just happen and to just make the markets to reverse. So here we need some signal of reversal, which you could actually see better on 15-minute chart or 5-minute chart if we are going to talk about the short-term signals which could lead to some long-term reversals. So don't forget about these factors. And silver as well, 2390, 2380, they could get retested, but that's not a really hypothetical thing. So mainly we are just waiting for next price movement under 2360. So if we get stuck under 2360 for nearest hours, it would mean that prices are going to reverse in midterm till the end of the week. But if any kind of these signals won't happen, and we just impulsively go down during today's session, it will mean that prices 100% that prices are going to continue the moderate upward movement. So any impulsive downward movement with one candle on 4-hour chart would mean that prices are going to continue the upward movement. And this would be a really good signal of the continuance of main upward trend. Don't forget. What's going on with United States dollar to Swiss franc and euro to Swiss franc here as well? Dollar prices are kind of weak, but they're going to start to grow again. And the only thing that we're waiting for the retest of 0.92 for Swiss franc, and the retest of dollar to Swiss franc, and the retest of 1.04 for euro franc. So we are just waiting for the retest of local supports to then start to get into long positions again. United States dollar to Japanese yen as well is retesting 115, and next thing that we are going to have is a reversal, but we have to wait for a retest of this level. This retest could be really impulsive. WTI prices, as you know, is going to rise further, even despite the situation of the for example, the escalation of the situation around the Eastern Europe conflicts. And for example, if even markets get out of this fair situation and there won't be such horrible things like predictions about war and the other things, even due to all of this, even despite all of these factors, we have the main factor that OPEC countries are not possible to grow the supply of oil. And that's a main factor which could help oil prices to rise further. Due to the 4-hour chart, we had impulsively retest $90, but we could get under this level, but not for long. This kind of situation would repeat again. For example, the lowering of amplitude after the breakthrough of $90. And as we see on the markets for now, we have such a thing like a withdrawal of the Russian forces from Ukrainian borders, but that situation, that's all this game would continue till the end of February. So even for short term or for midterm, I cannot tell you that prices of oil are going to make some downward correctional movement. 88, 86 are the last levels which could get retested. So if even you are paying attention on this amplitude decreasing here, you just need to know that any downward movement would be more logical to happen if it happened impulsively, because all of downward movements in the near future are going to be speculative for oil. They are all speculations, so the main buyers could get into the market again with better prices. 88, 86, they could get retested, but all of this downward movement of oil in the near future would be really speculative, would be really just to get into market again, just to start to buy from 88 or 86. United States dollar to Canadian dollar. Of course, Canadian dollar has a straight correlation with oil prices. So when oil prices is rising, the Canadian dollar rises as well, and dollar prices eventually fall, and of course these pair prices start to fall again. But what we have today is oil prices weakening. So if oil prices are going to weaken and the Canadian dollar, of course, is going to weaken, dollar, United States dollar is going to continue the upward movement. But in any case, we just need to pay attention that for now, for today's tradings, due to 4-hour chart, we have a really shrink volatility, and any downward impulses would be really good for us to get into the long positions. So long positions after some downward impulses, after the test of 1.27 would be really good. And for euro to Canadian dollar as well, the retest of 1.44 would be really good to get into the long position. So just wait for some downward impulses, then we can actually get to the market again. Bitcoin prices and Ethereum prices, as we said from previous times, that news background of cryptocurrency market is getting better, and due to this factor, we actually predicted that prices are going to continue the upward movement. Due to the picture of Bitcoin and Ethereum, the continuation of upward movement is more likely. 47,000, 50,000 are the levels which could get retested in the near future. And Ethereum, 3,400 is a level that could get retested in the near future. They could get retested impulsively due to the accumulation of the energy which we have here and which we have here on the Bitcoin chart. So mostly for near future, they are going to see how they are going, how the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to retest new highs, new local highs and maximums. But after that, we are going to get some correctional movement again. So don't forget, upward movement here is really moderate. Any downward impulse for now, for today, for nearest sessions or for hours, any downward impulse which closes above 40,000 for Bitcoin, which closes above 2,800 for Ethereum, is a possibility to get into long positions and to continue the upward movement to 3,400 for Ethereum and to 47,000 for Bitcoin. So don't forget about all of this predictions and technical charts. You can actually find more on our official website, and you just need to open the official website and look for different packages which we have. And these packages are what is included in these packages are the courses, different really informative courses for traders with experience, for traders which are beginners, and different type of instruments which we added to all of these packages as well, by the help of which you can actually optimize the process of trading. And don't forget to check this information on the official website, and don't forget to subscribe on the channel and ring the bell so you won't miss any programs in the future. Till next time, guys, have a good tradings. Bye bye.